Well, good morning. We are about to get started, and I want to introduce to you my guests and give you their profile so that you can relate with them at a more personal level. And I'll start with Professor Lucy Maina, who is an associate professor of sociology at Kenyatta University in Kenya. She has an MA, that is a master's, and a PhD in sociology, and specializes in social policy, development theory, applied research, enterprise development, gender and development, social gerontology, policy, and development evaluation, among others. She works with various development agencies in research and impact assessment to strengthen interventions. Now, currently, she is the Dean of the School of Security, Diplomacy, and Peace Studies at Kenyatta University. She has researched and published widely in her areas of specialization. Professor Maina is the founder of the Kenya Association of Gerontology and Geriatrics, which was established and registered in 2012. Her research work in gerontology spans the areas of quality of life of older persons, experiences of retirees, changing intergenerational relationships, older women's rights to property, that is culture and policy, among other things. Now, some of her published works in the area, of course, she will talk to us about them as we continue with this particular show. But that is one of our guests on set. So if you do have questions in relation to her areas of specialization, please just start texting us and talking to us on our social media platforms, and I'm sure she's open to answering them. Now, my second guest also in studio, you'll see on your screen, is Mrs. Esther Maina, who's the Deputy Director, Social Development and County Coordinator, Muranga, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. Now, she has previously worked as a high school teacher, youth officer with the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. She has a master's degree in women's studies from Australia, and master's degree in educational counseling from the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. She also has a Bachelor of Education from the Catholic University of Eastern Africa and diploma in education from Kagumo College in Nyeri. But I will also of course, say that she has certain passions that she will talk to us about as we continue with this particular engagement and conversation. So please join us in this particular discussion. And I must say, ladies, allow me to call you ladies today because this is the WCW edition. A lot of us don't even know about the 15th of May. People talk about Happy Mother's Day, like we did on the 10th, and now they're looking forward to the men's, Father's Day, and we have the AIDS Awareness Day, and we have, is it a Labor Day? All these things. But people do not talk about the International Family Day. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doris.
Thank you so much for creating time to be here. I know we're going to ask some very direct questions, but before we talk about even the organizations you are representing, how do you feel about being here this morning? I'll start with you.
Thank you, Doris. I feel very good for being here. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to sharing what we do at the Kenya Association of Gerontology and Geriatrics in terms of uplifting and improving the welfare of older persons who are members of the family. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know the viewer is saying you gave us a lot of details. We saw them on the screen, but just to be sure, again, they're trying to know, what is your name again?
My name is Professor Lucy Maina. I teach at Kenyatta University, and I come from the Department of Sociology, Gender and Development Studies. And currently, I am the acting dean of the School of Security, Diplomacy, and Peace Studies.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now you know when I refer to Professor Lucy, it is the amazing, beautiful lady in blue. And Karibu Sana. Please reintroduce yourself and tell me how you feel about being here this morning.
Thank you, Doris. I feel excited to come and share about this day that many people don't know about. The International Day of the Family. I feel delighted. Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, she's talked about it is the International Day of Families. I've been saying the International Families Day. So, International Family Day of the Family?
Yeah, International Day of the family.
You see, I'm also being enlightened and I work in the media, so how about you guys back at home? Isn't that embarrassing? Yes, it is. It is time for all of us to stop the embarrassment and hashtag appreciate our families. That's where I'm headed at. Now, when we start about, families, I want to talk about the KAGG in depth. Yeah, we will just tell us about the KAGG, of course, how long you have been in place and what is one of the drives and objectives of this organization.
Thank you very much, Doris. The KAGG is an abbreviation for the Kenya Association of Gerontology and Geriatrics. Quite a long word, I know, but it simply means that we are a Kenyan association that is interested in working in the area of older persons, how they age, both socially and biologically. So the Kenya Association of Gerontology and Geriatrics, or KAGG, was founded in the year 2012. And I'm the founder member, alongside many others who are not here. And our objectives is actually to advance the well-being of older persons in totality, and to advance knowledge on aging issues that affect our older persons. So we look at the status of older persons, but we also look at knowledge, because knowledge is everything. We are in a knowledge-driven age, and we need to know, we need to discuss, we need to dialogue on these issues that affect older persons. So that's exactly what we do, and we disseminate knowledge, we share knowledge, and we want to sensitize, through that knowledge, to sensitize the society on issues affecting older persons, what we can do about them, how we can make policies responsive to these issues, and how older persons can be included, not excluded, from the affairs of society in totality.
I like that. So just hold on to those points because we will come back to you and you'll give us a breakdown of policies and how to bring in inclusivity and just how to take care of the older people in the generation. Allow me to come to our very important guest here again and just talk about what is IDOG, the International Day of Families.
Okay, thank you, Doris. International Day of Family was proclaimed by UN General Assembly in 1993, and then it was commemorated in 1994, and since then it has been celebrated every 15th of May. And it is a day when we take stock of what is happening to families, because our ministry is mandated on issues to do with the family welfare. Thank you.
Wow, so far I'm just going to talk about how we have been commemorating this day in Kenya. Has it been consistent? Are Kenyans really doing what they should do on this particular day, just as they do with other days? Is it vivid to you that Kenyans are really respecting the 15th of May?
The awareness has been created, but because we have been celebrating it nationally, we have not celebrated it at the counties.
Okay.
And for the last 2 years, it has been celebrated through a conference, virtual, because of the COVID-19.
Okay.
But were it not for COVID-19, I remember in 2019, they celebrated the week-long activities in Kiambu. So we were actually geared towards taking it to the counties so that more and more people can know about this important day.
All right. So then we're talking about people are picking up. But now when you talk about COVID-19, I'm just going to switch back to Professor here. The older people, because I think these are the people who are the core center of the family unit because they have the generation, the values, the beliefs, they pass over to generations. How has COVID-19 affected this? The older persons to start with and how they actually relate in the family?
Thank you, Doris. A lot. Older people have been greatly affected by COVID-19. In fact, when we talk to them, they say, when this disease came to the country, it is as if it was meant for us. Everybody kept telling us, this is a disease for older persons. You people who are old, you need to take extra caution. So it has affected older persons. At the family level, remember we talk about the measures to curb the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah.
One of them is actually isolation. It is putting people away if they are suspected to have COVID or to be COVID-19 positive, what does that do to an older person when they are suspected to have COVID-19? You're separating them from their very significant others. Older people want to interact and relate with their own families. When you put them away, or when you talk about social distance, that you cannot come close to one another, what does that do to them? They love the warmth. They love the social relationships. They love the interactions that families afford them. And not just families, but even their peers, that people that are most significant in their lives. But you're telling them, stay away because you are at a higher risk than anybody else to catch COVID-19. So there are a lot of effects on the family and especially older persons when you come to COVID-19. And also we need to look at what we are doing about COVID-19. When we talk about vaccination, are older persons being reached by the vaccines that are actually targeted at them because they are a front risk group? Have they been vaccinated in this country? And what are we doing in terms of sensitizing them and educating them on the need for vaccination? I think a lot more needs to be done, especially targeting this group in particular.
I like that you have brought that on board, and I'll come back to that again in just but a bit. And I just want to ask, now that we are having 15th of May, just, around the corner, what are the plans of celebrating this particular day, this 15th of May?
Okay, thank you, Doris. There are week-long activities that are taking place. Today, as I'm here, there'll be people going to Muji wa Huruma. I'm also here as part of the week-long activities to create awareness to the wider public on this day.
Karibu.
And also on 15th now, the climax, there will be a virtual conference where all the county coordinators, 47 of them in the country, will give their voice to the importance of that day. Yeah.
And how does Mwananchi come in? Can they join the conference?
They can.
But with the hashtag?
We shall share.
We shall share. People
We
need to
shall
start
share
checking.
the link, yeah.
You guys are on Twitter, the ministry is on Twitter, so I know the youngsters can be very active on Twitter.
Yeah.
They should check and start a hashtag.
Yeah.
Like they do all other days. I saw Mother's Day trending. So I'm also very curious, how is KAGG and involved in the celebrations, and why have you chosen to be part of this IDOF, International Day of Women, of Families, this May 15th?
Thank you, Doris. Yes, KAGG is centrally working in the family because older people are integral part of the family. Our older persons are affected just as any other member of the community when policies are put in place. When you look at the family, the older persons are the older generations. Yeah, they are our parents, they are our grandparents. We cannot talk about the family and not talk about older people. And when you look at the family in terms of its needs, its functions, older people are central to it. The family is where you get your care when you're young. Older people are caregivers in many, many contexts, in many, many families. The family is the economic unit, the basic economic unit of the society. Older people are part and parcel of that. Some of them are the ones that have passed on their wealth to the younger generations. Older people are part and parcel of decision making in the family, and they should not be excluded from that, because in the past they were consulted a lot. Nowadays it's a bit different. Rapid urbanization, modernization, and migration have changed that reality. So they may not be consulted a lot in the present day, but they are still reserves of knowledge and experience, and they can share those experiences with the younger generations to their betterment. So we are part and parcel of the family. The older people are critical as we talk about the family. Whatever policies at the family level we are instituting, we must know and we must interrogate how they affect our older persons.
We must acknowledge that times have changed. you know,
Right.
and not leaving out the COVID-19 as well. It's really shaken us. But there's certain findings on, like you said, diverse technology and digitalization, modernization. And this has affected the family, like you have mentioned earlier. So what are these impacts of the new technologies on not just family, but of course you can start with the family and then tell us how it then affected the older people?
Thank you. Digital technologies. We are talking of technologies that produce or develop. We are talking of policies that process. We are talking of technologies that store information and that also enable the sharing of information, both at the family level, the community level, and the wider societal context. These are technologies that have come of age in our society. Some of us, or some of the younger people, have been born with these technologies. They have learned so fast. Older persons, some of them, have not interacted since childhood with these digital technologies, but they have come to realize and to know about them later in life. So how do these older people harness the technologies for their own benefit? How do we ensure that that happens at the family level and the wider society? Digital technologies can serve older people in several ways.
All right.
Number one, they enable conversations and connections between them and others. They enable conversations among their peers who, like in this case when there's COVID-19, perhaps they are not able to physically interact. Digital technologies come in very handy to enable those conversations to continue. They enable conversations between older people and other generations. In other words, they enable intergenerational relationships between the older persons and their significant younger people or younger generations within the family, community, and the society at large. But we must also look at the limitations of digital technologies. When they come to conversing and sharing information with other generations and with their peers, what are the limitations? When an older person picks up that digital item or device, maybe it is a tablet, maybe it is a mobile phone, are they able to operate it the way the younger lot do? Are they able to share information using that device the way other people do? When you talk about older persons and digital technologies, we cannot also forget that a lot of information comes through to us through the digital media.
Sure.
Every day we go into our social media platforms to learn what is happening in the wider society. Are older persons able to do the same? And if they are passed by some of these crucial information that comes in through those channels and devices, then where do we leave them at? They are not able to access the information, and therefore they will not be able to utilize that information for their good. Number three, digital technologies are also enabling not just the sharing of crucial information, but the access to various services. In the modern day Kenya, older people who are on the cash transfer program, for instance, are able to access the cash through their mobile phones. But not all of them. There are limitations, Doris, that we must also be considering and speaking about. There are some other services like insurance covers and so forth that are availed through digital technologies. Are older persons able to access those services at the right place, at the right time, using these digital technologies? Sometimes no. There are cases you will find, for instance, where you have to use your thumb print to access a service. Maybe it is an insurance cover for a medical service that you are seeking. You need to put your thumb into a small device so that you can be identified correctly. Some older persons are not able to do that. Why? Because some of their prints on their thumb are not clear.
What happens in such situations?
In such situations, they are denied that service.
Okay.
They are not able to access that that service at the point of service because they cannot be correctly identified. So what other alternatives are there to cater for older persons that have such challenges and limitations with technology. And we should not, upgrade technology. We should not be talking about technology when it is not applicable to one and all. And so we need to give it a serious thought. How can older people maximally, optimally utilize technologies to their advantages without being excluded just because they have one limitation or another?
Oh, that is very detailed and very powerful. Thank you, Mrs. I know you're here and you're thinking now these are the things to table in that conference. She's already made it very, very clear. Yeah. However, how do you think young people can come in to support older people when it comes to situations like this? I'm sure we use technology in very interesting ways. Of course, as you answer that, you'll also give me your final remarks. But first, the young people, because she's very into, older people. How are young people supporting the older people? And how can we support the older people through these changing technological times?
Okay, first of all, I'll start by how we are trying to use the technology to assist the older people. Like when we are paying them cash transfer, when we are targeting. These days we are using the harmonized targeting where we use tablets and mobile applications. Then the old people are also given open accounts where their bios are normally taken before they are paid. When they are about to be paid, we also send SMS to inform them. And some of the young people read for them those messages. We also have complaints and grievances, which has been integrated into management information system, such that at the click of a button, even at the sub-county, you can give your complaint and it is forwarded to the headquarters. Okay. That is, if an old person has an issue affecting his payment on cash transfer, if maybe he's being abused by the caregivers, because at times they are abused and they are fraud, they can complain and they can request to change the caregivers. So the management system is also digitalized, and also the follow-up. A chief can also text to an officer, because we normally also use the chiefs, the various multi-sectoral team. Okay. They can actually text and say a certain old person somewhere is in crisis. So everything is digitalized to try and help them. And during the second wave, the very vulnerable people are paid through M-Pesa to reduce the risk of COVID.
I think I saw something like that as well.
Yeah.
There was this message going around. Yeah, so if you did see that and receive that, please let us show some appreciation to our representative here this morning. Now, the young people, the reading of the SMSs, that is one positive thing. Mm-hmm. But I do know there are situations where young people have also been harassing the older people who cannot read the messages and take advantage of them. Is there a certain way that they're protected from, besides the caregivers, the young people who could be harassing them? Are there penalties? Is there anything in the law? Is there a bill somewhere that protects them in that line?
We have the older persons policy, but the bill is in the process.
Is in the process.
But the Senate bill is out on care and protection. Okay. And especially we have the Kirinyaga Rescue Center, where if we have a person who is really in crisis and abused, he can be rescued and taken. Mm-hmm. We are just waiting for a few technical issues on personnel to operationalize the center. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Kirinyaga is a hotspot for abuse of older persons. Okay. Muranga and also Kilifi, where because of issues of inheritance, at times they are accused of witchcraft. Because the young people maybe at times feel these people are not dying fast enough as they would wish.
Wow. Wow. I don't know how to feel about that statement as a young person in studio. I do not know how my camera crew feels and how you're feeling back at home. Is this the kind of young generation you want to be referred to as? All right, that's the question I will send back, even as we prepare to celebrate the hashtag International Day of Family, just to encourage you all, to welcome you all on the May 15th, to start giving this day the kind of, value, attention, and respect it deserves for the men in the family unit, for the women in the family unit, for our children, the next generation in the family unit, and for the experts who are trying their best to be on the forefront in making sure that we are all aware of this very particular day. I'm going to give you a minute, ma'am, to give your last words to that camera right there on the importance of IDOF and just what you'd like to say as of course, the founder of the KAGG, among other people.
Thank you, Doris. My final word. As we think about the International Day of the Family, where we are commemorating the family and looking into the family and how the family is being affected by all the changes that are taking place in our present world, including the rapid changes in technologies, let's pay a small thought on the lives of older persons. Let's look at how technologies can be harnessed to nurture positive intergenerational relationships at the family level. Let's look at how technologies can be harnessed to bring access to services for older persons closer to where they are. Let's look at how technologies can also be harnessed to ensure that older people are not being bogged down by the burdens of care at the family level, and they're able to exercise their rights. They are able also to participate in social and economic development and even political participation without really being bogged down at home, taking care of grandchildren, taking care of other members of the society, because they are seen like they are just at home. So how can we harness technologies to ensure that older persons fully participate in the economy and in whatever concerns them?
There you go. That's the food for thought from Professor Lucy Maina. Now, Mrs. Esther, I'll give you a chance as well.
Okay, thank you, Doris. I would want to say that we as a ministry, we are mandated to improve the livelihoods of communities. And it is important to mention we have lay volunteer counselors in all the 47 counties and in all the sub-counties. These are people with basic counseling skills. And because most people are stressed because of the COVID-19 related issues, some have lost their jobs, it is important to make use of those counselors. If there are issues they can't handle, they will do some referrals and link you to the right place, but they have the basic. If you feel mentally fatigued, visit our lay volunteer counselors. These are counselors who work purely on voluntary basis, and they have the basic counseling skills. And currently we have 1,800 in the country, lay volunteer counselors. They have been trained in 7 counties, and capacity building them because they have the basic skills, and that translates into 125 lay volunteer counselors who have all it entails that they can listen to you free of charge. So let us take and make use of these services that are provided by the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. We also encourage young people and other people to form groups so that they can be empowered economically and start income generating activities and pool their little resources to improve their livelihood. We also take care of people with a disability by trying to rehabilitate them, and they are given vocational skills, and they are even given startup skills, tools to start their small businesses. But the idea is to rehabilitate them, to integrate them into the society so that we don't stigmatize them as people with a disability. And lastly, I would also say that as the division of family welfare, we have so many programs. We have a policy in place that we are just waiting for it to be signed. It has been taken to the cabinet, and it will give detailed policy direction on family issues. And we hope that next time we are going to create a lot of awareness on this day.
Please do come again.
Thank you.
So we can have more time to create more awareness on this particular day. And I'm glad that you are women. People say there's a natural instinct in women. Are there men in the representatives? in the representation and organizations?
Yes, at KAGG we have quite a number of them.
We didn't give a shout out to men who are trying to uplift the family unit as well.
They're there.
They're there.
Yes.
We hope next time they will be represented as well.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming, Professor Lucy Maina, who is the founder of KAGG, and of course, Mrs. Esther Maina, the Deputy Director of Social Development and County Coordinator, Muranga. And that was a great, great interaction. I remember watching a comedy. There's a 35-year-old man who was harassing his very old man and saying, I have a right, you should be taking care of me. 35-year-old man. What do you think about that? Does he have the right? Who has the right to take care of the other right now? He's 35-year-old, he should be having an income-generating activity. The old man is his father.
Yes.
So is the man right?
He should be taking care of his father,
Himself.
not the other way.
Taking care of himself? Esther says taking care of himself, you say taking care of his father.
And taking care of his father. His father has brought him up to age 35. What is he giving back?
All right. Okay. There you have it. So if you're watching and you're saying, I am your son, I have a right, it's time to get out there and take care of your old man and take care of your mother and take care of yourself. None of them have said that the man was right. Either take care of yourself and the old man, but you don't say, Dad, take care of me. There's an age we youth just need to step out and make a difference in the family. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
And
us.
thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll be right back with the next guest. We take a short break, but then after the short break, we get musical. We get in the mood of celebrating the the International Day of Families in a musical way. Good morning. We'll be right back.